It's been an interesting couple of weeks because now we've really equipped you. You're a business owner, you're an individual, you're trying to figure out how the family business can keep going until the great-great-great-grandchildren. We've sort of given you everything you need. But what about those details, those things they talk about, risk profile, risk appetite, and you're like, but will you lose me there? Today we're sorting you. Flavia Tumsime Kabora, and this is the BRITAM Money Moves powered by BRITAM Easy Earner. I have two people on set today, and one of them you've probably already seen in the first one when we're talking about, you know, what the product is and all of that. And you said, but we didn't get some of the details. So he's back. Vernon Chirugu, who's the investment manager for BRITAM Asset Managers. Vernon, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I also have Richard Mwebesa, who's the general manager for BRITAM Insurance. Since the conversation is on risk, I feel like you really should be here. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Do you like the word risk? It's really what's the premise of your entire docket.
Yes, I like it. Why? Because risk is as old as the world.
Yeah.
Yes. As far as I can recollect, it's always been there. Yeah. And it's good that we have professionals or people that earn a living from assessing it, predicting it, planning for it, and ensuring we prepare for it once it does happen.
Is that like the worst case scenario? Prepare for the worst case scenario? Or it can't be best.
Not necessarily, because as I said, life in itself is risk. It's part of it. It's unpredictable. Yeah. You don't know what would happen 2 minutes from now. Yeah. You don't know what will happen 2 hours, 2 days from today. But from what we've seen, those that have managed to plan and prepare always bounce back, or actually always take a quick match, or they take leadership because they are ready. Yeah, once it does.
They have a buffer to sort of take that. We'll come back to it. Vernon, in the first, when we did the webinar, we discussed that thing of risk appetite and where risk is actually profiled in different levels for individuals. And I mean, we throw that around, you know, this is a high risk investment. This is, you know, but today I want us to get like the 101 of what that is.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So similarly to what Richard has said, risk exists in everything. So in the financial sector, you're not going to avoid
Run away here.
Yes. So with the way we've structured all of our products, not only just the Easy Earner, but all the products that we offer at BRITAM currently are low to medium risk.
Right.
So that is mainly for an investor who is looking for that kind of profile. So we have different kinds of investors. We have those that are more conservative and those that are more aggressive. So the products that we offer at BRITAM are more attuned to those who are looking for a low to medium risk, depending on, it doesn't really matter what kind of risk profile you have as an investor. It depends on what kind of product you're looking for. So within the basket of investments that you have, you might have those that are high risk, which could be stocks, which could even be property, anything that really gets your blood flowing. And then you have the ones that want secure. So you might have a plethora of investments, and BRITAM will offer you those that are low to medium risk. Yeah. So mainly for investors who are looking for capital protection, that's really what we're offering you. So regardless of where you're investing, you're sure that the money you put in, you'll get back.
It is safe.
It's safe.
And
yes,
it will multiply. So this is, we're talking about investor and talking about risk. So this is at a point where I have X amount of money and I'm giving it to you.
Yes.
You're measuring the risk. You can tell I'm sort of low or mid risk at that point when I'm bringing the money to you. Is that dependent on how much money I brought? If a guy brings $1 billion and someone brings $1 million, are you already determining from that one is low and mid?
No, not really. It doesn't depend on the amount of money. Yes. So when we're profiling you, which is basically trying to understand
the person,
you as a person, like why are you investing, the reasons why you're investing. So there are a number of reasons why you'd invest. Maybe you have a goal, like we had mentioned, you were saving up for something specific, or you have, or you're trying to diversify your portfolio. There are quite a number of reasons why you would invest, but the amount is not. Is not very key to it.
So we got it wrong the whole entire time. So if I want, I have $1 million, but I want to invest, and maybe gradually for school fees for my 4-year-old who will be 18 at some point. Where am I? Versus I have a vacation in 6 months.
So it depends on the person. So
Okay.
that now comes into the personal aspect of risk.
Right.
So $1 million shillings to you might be the same as 100,000 to someone else, who might be 100 million to someone else.
Okay.
So it's just what you're willing to
put away.
To put away, yes.
Okay.
So,
not what I'm willing to start with,
no.
but gradually what I'm willing to put away.
Exactly. Somebody who is
Okay.
putting away 100,000 might have the same risk profile as somebody with 100 million, because
Huh?
at that point in time, that is what that's what your profile is about. That's how much money you have. So somebody who has 100 million might be a billionaire. Somebody who has 100,000 might be a millionaire, or somebody who's giving you 100,000, that might be all the money they have.
They have, yeah.
So they might be they would be higher risk.
Very high
They'll be
risk.
very aggressive.
Because they're putting everything.
They're putting everything they have.
Okay,
They're
now
doing
I
high
get
risk, high return on
Wow.
all the money that they have. So
Yeah.
we bring that down to a fundamental level of what is it, what kind of investor are you, regardless of the amount of money you have.
It's like how much skin in the game, right? And then what about what comes back to me? Because if, I think we talked about it in the first episode with Marjorie, that somebody wants to buy a plot of land at 50 million, but they're only able to put 100,000 away. Sometimes they're like, but when will the 50 appear,
Yeah, true.
right? So is this part of the profiling where I have X amount of money, but my goal might be a bit, maybe I'm reaching.
Yes.
Yeah, so it matters how much my goal is, what I'm trying to attain.
100%. So that's actually the first thing that we ask you.
Right.
What is your goal? Why are you doing this in the first place? Is it something you're saving up for? Is it you're saving for retirement? There's some people who are saving long term for retirement. So we profile you differently. Normally we look at people who are saving for a longer term. They can take on a little bit more risk. If you're saving for something short term, like school fees, like you said, maybe a mortgage, maybe a trip, you have to be a little bit more conservative because that's going to happen within a short period of time.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at the 50 million that you want to spend on a property, on land, on a house, and you're willing to put down 100,000, we're able to reverse engineer what that actually looks like.
Okay.
So let's say you want to buy a house 50 million in a month. Right? Or maybe a longer...
There's no limit to our desires.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Or maybe realistically, let me say in a year or two.
Yes.
Then we're able to tell you, with the current interest rates on the market and the current options that you have, this is how much you need to put today. So then the next question I would ask you is, do you have this today? So that it can grow into that in the time period that you want.
Okay.
Yeah, because we also have to be realistic about our goals.
Yeah.
That's also one thing that's quite key. Wanting something is not
That's what I'm saying.
bad.
There's no limit to the desires.
There's no limit to wanting something,
Yes.
but you have to be realistic about what it takes now,
To
how
get
much
that.
sacrifice that you might need to put in, what you need to, some of the things that you might need to cut back on, or if you're comfortable enough to be able to make that kind of decision now. Those are also some of the hard truths that we give you.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to put down 100,000 shillings now for a 50 million plot, I would have to tell you what then you need to contribute
To get there.
to get there.
So you sort of
to
work backwards
supplement.
and say, it's okay, you can want this.
Yes.
But this is what it will take
Yes.
to get you here. Not is it what it will take to get me there in the time period I want, or generally?
So they can be both. If you're really set on the time period, we work with the time period.
Yeah.
If it's something that we can also advise you on, maybe this is a goal that needs to be extended. Maybe let's get something more realistic in the short term. We're still on the topic of houses. Maybe we go into a plan to rent, where maybe the interest you're earning is going to be able to pay for the rental, while you're figuring out how
The
to
other
get
parts.
that actual amount of 50 million, which you'll put down on land or you will lose for construction. So that's part of our financial advisory side, where we'll give you all the options, scenarios, basically.
It makes more sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I really want to ask you about things like consistency, the time value of money, and also the taking out the money. But when we talked about time value, I wanted to come back to Richard, because insurance is really a buffer to risk, right?
Sure.
And I don't know if this is, when we're talking about this end of risk, we're talking about, do you want it in short term, a year, 6 months, 10 years, 50 years, but then what about insurance? Do we ever have a conversation about the time value?
Yes, time is a factor of production, and for investments and return, it also is a very big variable, I should say.
Yeah.
Now, for insurance on the market, we have what we call long-term insurance policies that give you protection. for risk. Those mostly are life policies. There are a number on the market that help with school fees, investment, so that you're able to meet a particular goal. But then we drill it deeper into looking at your financial objectives. Because at the end of the day, it won't make sense for you to want to make that investment or saving that is going to end up making you burn out because you are sort of like biting more than you're able to chew. So it's a delicate balance, and the catch is to find that balance where you have comfort, but you also have a bit of leverage, but also you're taking a risk that is moderate to high, so that you do not end up in a place where you're saying, I made a wrong decision. But that said, we also have short-term insurance policies. Those are mainly the general insurance policies for the property, for medical and health as well. So the catch with insurance is that as you're planning the investment on the side, prudence demands that you take out an insurance policy. And most times the premiums or the amount you get to pay for the insurance is much lower than the return or the interest that you would earn. So looking at it from this perspective, when someone comes and makes an investment, be it short, medium or long term, if they took out an insurance policy, you find that even the interest that you're earning from that can be able to fund the insurance over a long period. So what am I saying? In short, you have to have both, because once you mitigate your risk, because there are different ways people approach risk. Yes, others avoid it, others accept it, others transfer it, others manage or mitigate it. Now, the ones that transfer it can transfer it to the insurance company, or can actually even mitigate it by paying an insurance premium, because you're taking that risk to my balance sheet as the insurance provider. That in case I fall sick, and I'm unable to pay that medical bill, and risk always comes uninvited. They knock on the door uninvited. So you're already unsafe. It is Jack Ma who said that most times you find a big challenge that most people are a medical bill away from falling into poverty, because you'd pay an insurance premium for a health plan and you get to pay, okay, give or take 100,000 shillings, yes, per year per person. But if you're going to pay medical bills and you fall sick and you have to go for an operation, all your savings, 30 million, can be wiped away for a consideration or premium of only 100,000 shillings. So the catch, or the smart, if I should use that word, or the prudent investor is, as they're taking out an investment, on the side they're also taking out an insurance policy to be safe than sorry.
I was actually about to ask, when are you supposed to start? And I mean, you won't tell me any time is the right time.
Actually, hey, I won't say any time. I may sound cliche, but the thing is, I'll tell you, when, from a marketing perspective, reality now, all things on the table, when people look at risk and insurance, what we call share of wallet, people want to spend on insurance last. Because they say, I have rent, I have to pay school fees, as you mentioned earlier, I have to pay umeme, okay, yes, car bills, yes, I had club, yes. People
but they are there.
Yes, they'll go and party first, and they think about insurance last, because the aspect of risk is the unpredictability, because it comes when you do not know that it has to come. So someone will say, but wait a minute, I've not had any issues. I don't fall sick.
As opposed to they say, it may or may not happen.
Yes, I've not fallen sick in the last 5 years. I don't fall sick. I'm blood type this. I'm resistant. So I shouldn't buy a health plan, or shouldn't buy comprehensive for my car. But I'm looking at it from a perspective which is not functional, but more of emotional. For example, someone has an iPhone, it costs maybe 5 million shillings. What are they using this iPhone for? To develop content as they post on their...
It's an asset in their business.
Yes, it's an asset. Yes, now look at it as such. Once that iPhone falls down and cracks the screen, you won't be able to post for the next 2 weeks. Or you have to borrow or hire or rent a camera or another iPhone from a friend. So if it has an issue, you're cut off. The whole business is going to shut down. So why not pay some premium, which is minimalistic, so that you are assured within 24 hours from lodging the claim, you have that device and I mean, there's continuity within what you're doing. So there's no interruption, there's no disruption, there's no problem. So that's where we come in as insurance to buffer you at the back and say, to cheer you on and say, come on, go invest, get that interest, enjoy it, dream. But wait a minute, once what if happens uninvited, unexpectedly, we are here to back you up.
Right. I think it's one of the episodes, Amos Wakesa said that part of wealth is maintaining your assets, maintaining what you have,
and that's the hard part.
Exactly. So I said, if your phone is clearly is what helps, you must maintain it. So if you're sure that these are the things that work for you, your life means this to you, the comings, then insurance is not really you're not losing money, you're actually maintaining, so that in the long run.
Actually, use the word protection, because when you're protecting the asset, you've paid a small premium at the back, so that you're sure. Because insurance is about surety. There's guarantee that once what is covered is covered. I mean, you carry on with your business. We've seen businesses that have been hit in a big way, but they bounce back just because they put aside that money. So for me, the philosophy is think of insurance. Okay, I'm not saying first or number 2, but put on your top bucket list. Priority. Put it within those things that you want to do. If you want to go party or hang out, at least put aside some money for that rainy day, because it always shows up.
It does. I was talking about consistency earlier. I mean, you've said what you can put away, which means you care how consistently I can put that away. So it's not so much that I can come and promise you 10 million shillings now, then I can't give you 50,000 next time. Is the consistency a big conversation in risk?
Definitely.
Analysis.
In risk management, yes. When you're trying to grow your investments, there's a certain level of consistency that you definitely need. And it doesn't come in the form of, we need you to come every month. But it needs to be like a mindset in terms of your consistency. Whenever you're getting money, there needs to be a plan where you say, this amount I'm going to save, or there needs to be some kind of planning in all of the money management, the investment, the decisions that you make. So that's the consistency that we're trying to build.
So you're not dictating the consistency. It's my goals or my earning that will, as long as I have it, that if I earn, something goes. The same way he was telling us that protection shouldn't be at the end, at the bottom. Just have it in your mind that
at
it's
the beginning.
If I should add on what Vanan is saying, I had someone wise tell me one time that money speaks a language, and the language of money is save me today and I will save you tomorrow. And it's always guaranteed. That language is understood by everyone under the sun. Save it, invest it now, or put it in insurance, and save it now, and tomorrow it will reward you majestically, speaking the language you wish to see. Why? Because that amount of dollars in your hands is going to synchronize with your dream, your wish list. If, for me, the dream is the house, the 3-bedroom with tiles, furnished with a 55-screen plasma TV, smart, etc., etc. Save me now, and tomorrow that dream will happen.
Absolutely.
If it's Mercedes Benz for you,
it's okay.
So be it. So be it. If it's to take your parents out for holiday, and take them to Dubai or wherever you want to take them on holiday, go sightseeing, wherever, it will save you tomorrow. So the crux of the conversation is, as you're putting it down, yes, consistency. I think it drills down to the habit. Yes, how are you doing it? Is it a habit? Is it habitual?
For you to save,
in the sense that you're saving or you're investing, over time, so that you are able to see your gains accumulate. And the catch is what he speaks better, compounding. Maybe
I literally wrote it right now. I wrote the word because that's all I could hear. But also, like, if my money changes, if my earning potential changes, if my access to money changes, that means even in terms of risk, I'm going to be at a different threshold or different level, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
There's an aspect of risk management that we refer to as rebalancing. As you grow older or as your profile changes, you don't always have the same risk profile. It changes as you either grow or as your financial situation changes. So the aspect of rebalancing is you taking a step back and saying, what are my possibilities now? Should I continue doing the same thing? Sometimes it doesn't work.
Right.
Sometimes the situation has changed in either direction, and now you can't consistently either save or you need that money.
But you know, that's true, because I feel like I earn more now, but my responsibilities as well are more now.
Exactly.
So what I was able to do 6 years ago, I'm not able to do now. And yet someone, if they were just looking at your earning, they say, but why aren't you doing that? So yes, even if money changes, sometimes there are other factors to look at.
I like what he says with the rebalancing, because I look at it from a perspective where I say, can I shuffle or reprioritize my priorities? Yes, saying what you're saying, it's so real. I mean, as you age, as you grow, responsibilities are getting more. Why? I mean, it's the fact of life. Look at the cycle of life. When you're in your teens, there's something you're worrying about. When you become an adult, your first job. So as you're getting older, you have a family, starting one, or have children, your parents are also getting older. So there's much more support. So you're earning slightly more than you were maybe 10 years or even 5 years ago, but the responsibilities increasing. So the issue is, how are you able to shift or reshuffle your priorities?
But although I thought the ones who take on high risk is when you're much older. I thought it would.
It
really?
depends. Again, when we're your risk profile, as I mentioned earlier, doesn't have anything to do with your amount of money you have, but also with your age. So there are typical situations.
Okay.
Right, I would say. When you're younger, you should be taking on more risk because you have more time.
Yes.
When you're older, close to retirement ages, maybe that's not the time
you hoard
to put in all your money.
Yes.
It's something because you might need that buffer. But also, like Richard has just said, your priorities at that time. You see, I think before we used to put people in brackets. 10 to 18, those are teens, and then 18 to 30. But now you have all these situations affecting different people. You have kids that are 8 years old earning salaries now on YouTube and things like that.
Oh, yes.
And you have the youngest generation of billionaires ever is right now. So the profiling now has also changed. Younger people are starting to have a lot more access to cash. So they need to be in these conversations of how much risk should you be taking on that heavy risk now. But then what are your priorities going to be? Is the business that you're in sustainable? Right? You might have earned all your money before you're 30 these days. And now you have to manage the way that money maintains you for the next 30, 40 years. So there are typical stereotypes of the age brackets, but also things are changing. So that's why we really have to have that conversation of that profiling conversation is very important these days. We need to factor in
everything,
you as a person, not how old you are, how much, it's what you're looking for at that particular point in time. And
speaking of me as a person, it's one thing for me to have a job and I'm earning 2 million. I come to you, we agree, 250,000. That's the best. Let's do that. Let's stay within this. Let's reinvest this every month. Then I earn double the amount, and then I come and like 1 million, 1.5. But then I've not maybe been forthcoming with everything else that goes on in my life. The same way, if you were going to take out a loan, they would worry about you giving up all your money, because how will you survive? So what are the limits to the conversation you're having around risk profiling?
So when it comes to, especially when it comes to the amounts, obviously telling the truth is the best.
It's key.
It's key.
Be honest with yourself.
And the biggest problem, I think, is when you're having conversations with money, it's almost impossible to tell the total truth.
I'll tell you what I think you should.
Tell you what I think I have, what I might have, how much this might be. This is when you're valuing maybe your assets and what. But the truth is that you should be telling the truth, because this at the end of the day, this is for your benefit. So a lot of the questions, some of the profile questions we ask is how much on our KYC form, which is the form that you fill in when you're coming into the business, when you're just starting out. We ask you what percentage of your total net worth are these savings, because that also matters.
You can't say it's 80%, 70%.
Yeah. And people are normally like 5%, 10%, but the truth is that that's closer to 70, 80%.
Yes.
So even us, when we're investing, it's a very important thing, because it helps us understand how long we should be investing for. Because somebody who is saving upwards of 60 to 70% of their net worth is going to need that money in the short term.
Yes.
But somebody who is willing to put down 5%, the chances are that money will stay and build
over time.
So we're able to make also better investment decisions for you.
Right.
So there was a mindset question that you had asked. Maybe I'll just go back to that as well. What we've seen in the years that we've had these products is this money is actually quite sticky, meaning that there are very few people in comparison to the total number of clients we have who actually come back for this money. They're actually looking at it as a long-term investment, despite the fact that
even if they can't describe it that way at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So despite the fact that we have a 1-year tenor of investment, so we invest 3, 6, and 12 months. The average is about like 4 or 5 years in terms of when people come back to actually get their money. And it's normally like an emergency.
Yes.
So maybe take out the COVID period, because that was a bit of an outlier.
It was unique, yeah.
But in terms of somebody's putting in money consistently, that 250, 200,000, the chances are that they will continue saving, and they'll only come back when there's something either significant, but it won't be the way people think it is. They're like, let me put my money there just in case I need it, I'll come back.
Vernon nails it on the head. Well, why? Because we're looking at behavioral metrics. It's basically a behavioral cognitive choice or decision. At the end of the day, remember we say we start from your goals. What are your goals? Then broken down into your objectives. Then your objectives, how are they fitting into your plan? So the whole issue is from a mindset shift. Is it from consumption, or is it from an aspect that I'm putting aside this fund or money or saving or investment for a sustainable decision, which is tomorrow? Yeah, so we notice that people who come to invest or take that saving from a shorter term basis end up missing out on the interest or the value on the compounding effect. But what we've seen also is when they later realize that I've come with maybe 100,000 shillings, and within 5 months, hey, wait a minute, it's now close to 160 something, and this is money that I don't need to go and withdraw or take out immediately, and then their priorities or the way they're thinking about begin shifting. And also the aspect that compounding is the sweetest model ever financially developed or designed by financial institutions under the sun. Why? Because this is money that is sweating for you, that is working for you, that is going in the gym for you, and as you take a peek and keep peeping at it, that interest is basically growing.
Yeah, because compounding isn't necessarily the one by one makes a bundle.
No.
Compounding is on the bundle making its own bundle.
Yes, its own bundle, and then it begins to grow and budge on. And so I think that aspect is what makes the whole conversation juicy and attractive.
When does my investment start to do the quote-unquote compound? Almost immediately?
Yes. So your investment starts compounding on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So you're earning on a daily basis, and that compounding effect is then factored into now your 3-month investment, your 6-month interest, or your 12-month interest.
Yeah.
Yes.
So compounding is just the interest is on making the money now at this point.
It's yes. So right now with this particular product, because you're investing for a particular period of time, that's what the interest will be making.
Yes, within that period of time. Who's compounding is for everyone, I'm guessing. Correct. Whether you're mid-risk, low risk.
It's the equalizer. It's universal for everyone. Yes, where you are.
Yeah.
I'd say maybe the only difference with the product is we do give you an option. If you remembered, we had explained where you can take out your interest on a monthly
and
basis.
Yes.
That so you're limited in the compounding, but the compounding does apply to everyone.
Okay. So I want to know if there is. So there's one thing to have your money in there and it's growing and everything, and you say goal. Sometimes I don't want a vacation. Sometimes I don't want to buy a house. I just want to make money, and that's it really. Like when you ask me the goal, I'm like, I'm giving you money. I want more money. Is that a valid objective? Because then all I want is just the money to grow. Not really looking to go to anything or do anything with it.
So that becomes the goal.
Yeah.
The goal is you want to make money,
Yes.
and you want to make money in, most importantly, a passive way.
Yes.
So there are very many ways to make money, as we know. But if one of your goals is, I want to put money, I have this money, I want to put it aside, and I want it to make money without me caring.
Yes.
Like I don't want to start reading
Every
news. I don't
single
want to start
day.
reading newspapers.
You do it.
This is up to the people at BRITAM.
Yeah.
This is perfect because there is there's a rule of 72. Maybe I can use that in this example. Whenever you want to calculate how long it will take you to double your money, you take whatever interest rate that they've offered you and divide that interest rate by 72. So, and that will give you the amount of time your money will double. So that becomes like your goal. You said, I have this 100,000, I have this 1 million, I want it to become 2 million. So that rule of 72 helps you understand where you need to invest for you to have that in 2 years or 3 years, or what levels you need to be at.
Right.
So that's a goal as well. It's a valid goal. You say, I want my money to double, and I want it to keep doubling and keep growing over time. Yes.
Every investment decision is valid.
Right.
Yes. Why? Because it's coming from the heart or the mind of the investor.
Yeah.
So we may not look at the why. All we share with you or show you is the how. Because your objectives or your goals may be, I don't want this money to just sit redundant. I want it to sweat for me and it grows.
Yes.
And when I see it growing, it makes me happy.
Yes.
Yes. So that goal is
That's
as
my
valid.
inspiration.
Yes, it's as valid as can be. It may not be qualified into, and the one who has the house or the car or the dream plot is not any lesser than the one who wants to see their money grow. But I like what Vernon is saying, the rule of 72. It sounded like music in my ears. Yeah? If I divide my money by 72, the interest, was it interest? Or
Whatever interest they're offering me, right?
If you divide the interest rate they're offering, 72 divided by the interest rate,
yes,
will give you that period it will take for that money to double.
So that becomes my pivot risk for me to gain, so to speak.
When will I double the money? And taking out the money, you said most of us don't ever come back for the money in that period we asked.
Yeah.
But even the person who does take out the money, are they losing out?
I would say no, not necessarily, because there's never a loss when you've made that kind of decision.
Yes.
It's just a different way of going about it. So there's people that want to access their interest. So I'll give you an example of a large group of our investors, pensioners.
Yes.
You have pensioners about 55 to 60 years old who get a large chunk of cash
money at once,
and more often than so, it's money that they have never had to that magnitude in their whole entire lives.
In one go.
In one go. But they're ideas at that point in time. You want to build apartments, you want to buy a car, you want to, maybe you want to make a lifestyle change. And like Richard said, valid. Everything that you would like to do, it's okay. But when we are, again, profiling, like retirement investors, there's a little bit of consistency that they've had, especially like salaried retirement investors. They've had consistency, and now they want to come and invest that money, and then they want you to give them their interest just the same way they were getting their salaries, so that they can now plan. They can decide whether they have to make a lifestyle change, whether they have to now live within those means. Sometimes it matches what you've been getting before. Sometimes, more often than not, it's slightly lower. But now there's some consistency in the way you're receiving that money.
Yes.
So every month,
however
I know
little
from
it's
BRITAM,
coming,
I'm getting this amount of money, and this is what's going to pay for my utilities, my bills, my this and this, while you figure out what it is you want to do.
Yeah, because you're controlling
I like what he's saying. I remember something interesting. Another wise person told me, if you don't plan for your money, the money will plan for you. That's why you see people ask, but I had 500,000. I don't know where it went. Yes.
No, they said, nah, economy.
Then you're going
You
to that
start the
narrative,
day with
economy,
money
things are
and,
tight.
yes.
So I think, as I said, the saving aspect is a habit. If you know that every money, I mean, it's about discipline. If you know yourself that the money will evaporate and you will ask your cousins, actually the people will say, I was robbed. I got a phone call, Richard, trust me, someone pickpocketed me. Yeah, and you're sure.
It's just spending
You just
habits.
didn't know where the money, it just evaporated. So the
Yeah.
aspect is building that habit.
Yeah.
To say, once this money comes, straight to my investment
Yes.
BRITAM,
Yeah.
and at least you can watch it and see and know where it went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to come to you as we wrap for your, your thoughts or anything you might want to communicate to people. But Vernon, before we wrap, you talked about this generation and how, I mean, people are not making money the same way everybody made money back in the day. And you might think, whereas years ago earning 2.5 was such a shock, today someone might, look down on a person earning little money. But you also have people who earn or who get money, let me say get money in different ways. And it's a chunk of money. We call it the gig economy. Eh? You make money and then don't make money for another 8 months and then make money. Since you said the amounts don't matter, the age doesn't matter, what kind of advising are you doing for this person? Because now, what are you telling them? Because it's not that they have control such and such of how they will earn. So is it now down to the, what they choose to put away? But remember, it's not a percentage of every other time. It's a percentage of whatever chunk I end up getting. What are you telling that person?
And I think we've been lucky to have quite a number of clients like that.
Really?
Yes, we have quite a number of people who have either been able to earn a large chunk of money in a go, and they want to put that away. So normally, when we are giving you financial advice, it's for a long period. It's for an extended period of time. Basically, we look at a large time horizon. How is this money going to work for you basically forever? Yes. Right? So
because there's no guarantee in the near future. You don't know.
Exactly. None of our jobs are really guaranteed.
Actually.
Like Richard had said at the beginning, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, in 2 hours, in 2 days. Anything could happen. I mean, I keep referring back to COVID. COVID really taught us a lot, I think. And to go back, it really made us realize why we needed like emergency funds, because there's so many people, so many families that we've seen that you've now realized you're maybe 2 hospital bills away from poverty.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Fact.
It will cripple you, and you might not have that emergency before. So like you're saying, for the gig economy, when we are after profiling you, so this is after we've profiled your risk and now we're investing, we also build a portfolio for you. So within this particular product, so even if you're investing in USD, we're still asking you those questions. So how often do you get this money? Do you think you're going to get more money? Yes. And then we'll build for you
something that will make
more of
sense
like a portfolio. So that's more of on our advisory side. But we're consistently talking to our clients, and our clients are consistently calling us. Someone will be invested in the USD fund, but they'll call you to tell you all their other issues, the money that they have.
But
somewhere
you know what?
else.
I was about to say that's a weakness, but it's a strength. It's the only reason I love Britain, because you can keep having conversations.
Yes.
And yet you saved like 4 months ago, but you're still talking, But I think it's good, because then it helps me as I earn to factor in where they're able to help me. Because one of the things people talk about soft life in this generation, because you want your money to make money. Nobody's willing to do the fight anymore. Richard, I mean, what do you want people to remember or to know about risk, about insurance? They're on their journey to create wealth, but you say these things should be together.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think 2 things in this game of money, of growth, of progress. You must plan, but you must also prepare. Yeah, so how do you do that? As you thinking through everything you're doing, your gigs, your growth frontiers, always know risk is parallel with what you're doing. And the earlier you get alive to it, the better, because you are able to prepare for it, and you, for the lack of a better word, you're better off safe than being sorry
yes.
than having to run a fundraiser for assistance where you could have paid a very small percentage of your monthly income.
Yeah, which at that time you had
insurance.
access to.
You had access to, yes. So same thing, I mean, save me today, as the money language is, and I'll save you tomorrow. Yeah. So secondly is it's never too late to start. Yes, and you don't have too little to start with. The only minimum investment we require is 100,000 UGX. For the dollar is $5,000. So it's not too late to start. Yeah. As time being a variable, the moment you start that day is when that money begins to sweat for you, or go to the gym for you, and growing and compounding. It's not too late to start. Yeah. You can start anytime. We have a nice team at BRITAM that can advise you, that will help you hold your hand, yes, and flash that torch in those dark places. Yeah. Yes, because I mean, money conversations bring nightmares to many people, or issues of, okay, am I putting it in the right place? Am I safe? So BRITAM is a place where we say with you every step of the way.
Absolutely.
Yep.
The reason we don't look for those dark places because somebody like Vernon is there, to
yes.
worry. We just give you the money, then we want the end. We don't want to know the in between. Any 2 cents as we wrap?
I think Richard has really summed it up. The two main things are, it's never too early, it's never too late to invest, and you never have too little.
That's how we feel, but it's not too
And that's
late.
how a lot of people feel. A lot of people feel that maybe let me get my money to a certain point, then I'll come to you. But that's also the reason why we developed certain products. Because as Richard has said, not only on the dollar side where the entry point is $5,000, we have the Uganda shilling side where you can enter at 100,000 shillings. And anyone can be an investor. There's a stereotype about investing. There's a stereotype about being an investor, about coming to companies.
That word sounds so...
It sounds so huge, but anyone can be an investor as long as you are planning, basically, financially for your future, you're investing.
Yes.
So even if it's not with BRITAM, as long as even if you're putting money on the side in your drawer, you're investing. Yeah, as long as you're planning, like Richard has said, as long as you're planning and preparing, you've already started investing.
Absolutely.
But now you just need to make sure that it makes sense.
Yes.
So that money, you're actually making the best decision. So there are so many options, and there will always be options, but the best option for you at the time also matters. So we always encourage people to go to financial professionals, because there's really no need for you to be doing this on your own. There are people there to help you, and that's their job, to be able to make sure that you get value from your hard-earned money, your savings, and to be able to make your dreams come true.
So I kind of wrote down compounding, but we might have gone on and on and people just aren't sure exactly what it is. What's the simplest way to define compounding?
Okay, so compounding in the sense of investments is when your money earns money.
Right.
That's the simplest way to say it. You have earned some interest, and that interest now is earning its own interest on a daily basis.
So I've given you 100,000, I earn interest on it. That interest then earns interest.
Yes.
Compounding has happened.
Correct.
Ah, okay. So I wanted to talk about, because the USD, the entry point is $5,000. But I mean, someone might have more than $5,000 and it says, okay, should I just give them the 5 and wait, or hold the money and wait till it becomes, what if somebody has $30,000, $50,000? What then happens?
Okay, so all our entry points that I had mentioned are the minimum level to come in. Obviously, there's no maximum. You can bring us your $1 million. $1
million, it's okay.
If it's possible. So this product was designed for, again, US dollar investors who are already investors. We have people who have US dollar obligations, as well as those who just want to diversify. If you've just never had a dollar account, you want to invest in dollars, this is the time. Because this product is for everyone, truth be told. So if you have those large chunks of money, what you're now comparing that to is your other options. So when we launched, we did mention that we are averaging, 5.6% since inception. So since we started this product, we've been averaging about 5.6%. It's quite handy that we're actually having this conversation today, because yesterday they cut the federal bank rates in America by about 0.5%. So maybe just to help with that is rates are coming down
Yeah.
in where these dollars are domiciled. So now investors should be looking at, okay, I've been investing there, or our Ugandans who are in the diaspora who have been investing in opportunities in America. Now those rates are coming down.
Yeah.
So opportunities, you have to start looking for opportunities around, and it's quite convenient that these opportunities are in Uganda.
Yeah.
So obviously we can get into what we invest in a little bit more, but at the end of the day, this is really for you to establish where you'd want your money to be, how safe it's going to be, of course, how you're going to manage that risk of having it maybe in another country or
versus
having it
back home.
Yeah. How you've been managing your investment profile from remotely, but also as a big investor in dollars, maybe sitting in Uganda, you need to also look at what risk you've been taking on and how you can actually earn close to or more with products that are currently sitting here.
Yeah, because there must be somebody watching this and they're in America and they're Ugandan and they earn dollars. Then of course they have to keep turning it back into shillings every time they're losing, of course, on FX, but they bring it back, they'll invest it, and you're thinking, no, just as you earn, we keep it, we multiply it, until at that point when you have whatever you want to do with the money. And even if it's in chunks, because I know that even if they're working in the diaspora, sometimes the money comes in chunks and not necessarily that's okay. So that makes a lot of sense. So there's no limit.
There's no limit.
The other is just the minimum you can, bring in. It makes a lot of sense, and for me, I like that they don't really care about how much I'm coming in with or my age or even when I am starting. The fact that I'm starting is the best thing, and that is what you should take away from now. So don't be too worried saying, but my money was coming next year, next month, anytime, whenever you start, and also that you're an investor. Stop looking at that word as if it's in foreign land. As long as you're wanting to be intentional with your money, you're investing and you know the right partner for you. This is BRITAM Money Moves with BRITAM Easy Earner. Bye-bye.
Meet Moses. He invests in dollars, but here's the smart part. His dollars don't just sit there. They're out there making more dollars for him. He can take a break, but make or break, his dollars never rest. They're out there hustling for him 24/7, even when he's asleep, halfway through his dreams. Save your dollars with BRITAM Easy Earner Dollar and earn competitive interest in 3, 6, and 12 months. Call us today on 0312 305 600 or email clientservicesug@britam.com and let more dollars start rolling in.